Nigerians in the diaspora, particularly those in the United States of America, have realized the American dream as well as the Nigerian dream. Dr. Yetunde Odugbeson Omede, a first-generation Nigerian American, will be telling us how these dreams have been fulfilled through brain drain to brain gain and more recently brain circulation. And part 2 of our New Year's messages from our diasporas continue as we prepare for the elections. And on hand we have the Association of Nigerian Physicians in the Americas with our health segment. And of course, we do not forget our diasporan of the moment. This is your favorite program, The Diaspora, and I am your host, Koinsola Adetumbi. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Dr. Yetunde Odugbeson Omede, in her keynote address as a recipient award at the Newark City Hall, New Jersey, says Nigeria has a global human capital waiting to explode. Take a listen.
Nigerians in the diaspora all over the world have been able to be the ambassadors of Nigeria. We have been able to represent the country in tumultuous times. We have been able to rewrite and change some of the narratives that have come out of Nigeria. We answered the call of duty that said in our first national anthem on October 1st, 1960, there was a part that said, "No matter the tribe or tongue, in brotherhood we stand." And we have in the diaspora been able to come together and unify ourselves, understanding that there were various internal and external threats that oftentimes tried to undo the beautiful story of Nigeria. We pulled up our bootstraps. We took some parts of the American dream. We took the culture of Nigeria, and we went out into the world so that whenever you heard a Nigerian name, it was synonymous with excellence. Whenever you heard a Nigerian name, it was synonymous with hard work. Whenever you heard a Nigerian name, you knew that education was paramount in the household. It wasn't just upbringing, it was a culture. It's an African culture. It is a Nigerian culture. So I don't tend to use this platform to focus on the issues that are not peculiar to Nigeria, the issues that are global issues that other countries also endure, but to focus on the glory of what Nigeria is. I am a testament to that. Born and raised here, I took the culture. I look at the world in a dual vision. I'm a product of the American dream. I'm the product of my Nigerian parents' prayers. And I understood that wherever I go, I was a representative not only of my home, but of my other home, right? Nigerian home. And that when I would walk into meetings and when I would be the youngest person on the board or the youngest faculty or the only woman of color, I knew that there was more things that I had to represent than just myself or just my qualifications or just where I'd been at. There was a generation that was just like me, first generations who were just like me, who were born here in the United States, who also had that call to duty. There's a part in that anthem, in our national anthem, that says, "It is a great gain to be able to pass the flag to future generations without stain." And one thing I want to say is that you know, the generation that we have now is a different generation. They're not the generation of the 60s, of the 70s, of the 80s, or of the 90s. We are a generation with so many things that are at our disposal, a generation that is exposed to the many global issues that are out there, a generation, if tapped into, can be the human capital of the world. That is what we have been able to do. So the brain gain that all the other countries have experienced by Nigerians in diaspora is one of our glories. That is the new turning point. That is what Toby Amosun, who is the fastest hurdler in the world, I look at her with almost symbolic as a baton, basically saying, here's the baton to the next generation. How will you rewrite the new future? How will you patch or make things or be the bridge back home? How will you be able to change some of the global narratives that are there? Any issues that the country face, I always say they're not peculiar to Nigeria. They're not the only story of Nigeria. Chimamanda Adichie said, always beware of the danger of a single story. The ability to pick up your phone and only hear negative news. The cynicism that often comes about with inundated with the things that are going wrong. Can we take today to focus on what has went right? Can we take a day to focus on the things that we have accomplished as a country? There's nowhere in the world that you will not see, even in high positions, a Nigerian that is there. There is not one person that you can't account to that doesn't have a medal or a recognition of the highest degree that comes from our homeland. Those are things that are glorious, despite the checkered history, despite whatever issues they may face. We are the ambassadors. And I often plead unto the young people who are the first generations Nigerians to also understand that you too have a call to duty. That when we sing that national anthem, when you sing the American national anthem, you remember your own anthem, the anthem of your parents, the struggles that they also went to have you here, to raise you here. Now you are afforded with this exposure, with the opportunity, and what will you do with it? Our accomplishments are not just our own. We have a responsibility to ensure that the next generation is trained to be the leaders that we need.
Many thanks, Dr. Yetunde. You are indeed our #1 ambassador. Now, as the general election approaches, Nigerians in the diaspora are not going to vote as they have not been accorded voting rights. Please take a listen to their messages.
Happy New Year to our chairman, NITCOM, and to everyone. Thank you very much for this opportunity, NITCOM TV. Last year, the chapter had a very good ending. We got the best award for the best chapter in Europe. Thank you very much for that recognition. Several of our members were awarded, given several awards within the United Kingdom as well. We're hoping that this year we will do the same. This year is a bit different because of the elections. It's a critical year. We have the elections coming up next month. We all know that without our PVCs, we will not be able to vote. And most importantly, us living in the diaspora, it is very important that we participate. If we don't participate, how are we going to get that bill passed? If we're asking for the right to vote and be voted for, it is very important that we get involved and participate in this process, because only in participating that bill this year with a new administration will be passed. This year we look forward to a week in Nigeria. We have carried out these projects for over 4 years. We're looking forward to more collaboration and partnership with NITCOM. We're coming in again for a week in Nigeria to celebrate Diaspora Day on the 25th of July. We hope that this year we'll be more involved and then more engaged. We look forward to a free and fair, transparent elections.
My message to fellow Nigerians in 2023 is to encourage all of us to help continue and strengthen democracy. And my second advice in 2023 is to be our brothers' keepers, our brothers and sisters' keepers. Because if we don't do it, nobody else will do it. And my third advice is for all of us Nigerians to find a way. I know it is difficult during these harsh economic times to eschew corruption. Corruption in all forms. May it be, nepotism. May it be, bribe taking and bribe giving, so that our country could really take its place among the leading nations of the world. The part B of my advice is that because 2023 is an election year, I would, strongly urge all our people who are voting, who haven't gotten their PVCs, to go get it before the cutoff, the deadline set by the INEC. And if you get your PVC and you intend to vote, make sure that you protect and guide your vote so that it can be counted. Finally, we need to follow the advice of His Excellency, President Muhammadu Buhari, who advised all of us to vote for credible and honest candidates. And may God bless Nigeria, and may God bless you all. Thank you.
It is my wish to wish my country, my beloved country, Happy New Year. And I also wish you the best in the upcoming general election, February 2023. Again, as I've always said, that the Malaysia developed, India developed by the strength of their diaspora, and Nigeria is blessed by such strength and should be leveraged. It is quite unfortunate that we're not going to be voting from the diaspora at this time. It is my will and my belief that we will be voting next time around. Nigeria is my country, and everywhere we go, the home is the best. And I want you people to make that home the best, so that we, the diasporas, can begin to come back home and bring the much needed development. Again, I'll be voting. Come February, I'll be voting. And here's my PVC card that I'll be voting. I made an effort to come back home and register, and I'll also participate in the electoral process. It's a good thing. May God bless us. May God bless Nigeria.
Greetings, my fellow citizens, and a Happy New Year. Thank God we are able to make it to the year 2023. Not every citizen you saw in the year 2022 survived to see the year 2023. So it's something to be grateful to the Almighty. This year, 2023, is a year that is pregnant with so much promises for our nation. This is a year we have to make sure we go to the polls to elect the right people who will manage the economy of our great nation. Happy, Happy New Year 2023. You can only make it happy if you do the right thing. Thank you and God bless.
I want to wish you and your family the best of 2023, which I believe you're already having by now. I also want to use this opportunity to say a very big thank you to all the Nigerians, especially the youth, who has been giving in their time to make sure the upcoming election goes in very smooth proceedings and very effectively.
I want to use this season to wish you all a happy new year. I know it has not been easy for all of us, both home and abroad, but we thank God we all survive it. And quickly, I want to use this moment to employ all of you back at home to make sure you go get your PVC and vote. Not only vote, but vote the right people. It is a pity those of us abroad can't vote now, and that is why we're taking our time to encourage you guys to make sure you go vote. Vote and vote the right people.
Here is wishing every Nigerian a happy, prosperous new year. May God continue to bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thank you all for your goodwill messages. Now let's take a quick break with Boy Alinko leading.
Not so fast. Look, I'm tired. I want to check out of this country for greener pastures.
Just calm down for a moment. Please sit down.
Do you have a job where you're going to? No, but someone is arranging,
Listen, Alinko. Checking out of this country without proper planning means one thing. Unimaginable begin.
You know, I've been in the diaspora
but legitimately doing great things at home and abroad. As I've been saying, without the proper footing abroad, the risk is not worth it. Listen, Alinko, it's better to be home than be trapped abroad or even end up in prison.
If you must travel, travel legitimately. Ambassador Obinna Onowu, Nigeria's ambassador to the Kingdom of Belgium and head of delegation to the European Union and Organization of African, Caribbean and Pacific States, OACPS, on Wednesday deposited Nigeria's instrument of accession to the revised Georgetown Agreement of the OACPS. With the deposit of the instruments of accession by Ambassador Onowu, Nigeria now becomes a party to the revised Georgetown Agreement. The organization OACPS is a grouping of 79 African, Caribbean, and Pacific countries with a special relationship with the European Union. Its main purpose is to support the sustainable development of its member states through development cooperation, South-South, North-South, and triangular partnerships. Nigeria, a major contributor to the budget of OACPS, and the organization recognizes the potential of the diaspora to promote inclusive development and structural social change in OACPS member states, hence the interest of both sides in the effective and sustainable engagement of OACPS diaspora. In this connection, the OACPS has designated Honorable Dr. Abike Dabiri Arewa, Chairman CEO of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM, as the champion of diaspora. At the summit of the OACPS in Luanda, Angola, from the 6th to the 9th December 2022, heads of state and government endorsed Nigeria's offer to host a Center of Excellence on Diaspora in Abuja. The federal government of Nigeria is also collaborating with the Secretariat of the OACPS to organize an international conference on diaspora in Abuja this year. This meeting will bring stakeholders across 3 continents to Abuja to share experiences on diaspora engagement issues. The African, Caribbean, and Pacific States, ACP, now OACPS, was established on 6th June 1975 under the instrument of the Georgetown Agreement. The agreement was revised on the 1st of April 2020 to effect the transformation of ACP into the OACPS on 5th of April 2020. It could be recalled that the OACPS delegation, facilitated by Ambassador Obinna Onowu, visited Nigeria and had far-reaching conversations with the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM, in Abuja. Today, Nigeria becomes a party to the revised Georgetown Agreement. Now to our health segment with our ANPA doctor. Enjoy the health talk.
So sickle cell disease is an inherited blood cell disorder, specifically red blood cell. So in your body, you have white blood cells to help prevent infection. You have platelets to help prevent injury, to help you to heal. And then you have red blood cells, which supply oxygen throughout your body. In a person without sickle cell disease, their red blood cells are perfectly round and flexible, so they can move through the body without any issues. A person with sickle cell disease, the red blood cells are sickled or crescent shaped, given the name of the disease, and they have problems traveling through different sizes or different blood vessels of different sizes. So it can really impact your major organs. It can cause problems involving swelling of the lower extremities and the hands. It can cause organ damage to your kidneys. It can cause stroke. It can cause heart disease. So it makes a major impact, especially people with ethnic connections to Africa, the Middle East, the Mediterranean basin, and India.
How is sickle cell disease diagnosed?
It's really easy to diagnose. It's a simple blood test that can be done at a lab or even at a point of care center. In more developed countries like the United States, we do screenings on newborn babies as part of the state's newborn screenings program. That way you can identify a person or a baby with sickle cell disease right within a few days of life, even within a week maximum. In other parts of the world, particularly Nigeria, I've heard there's certain hurdles in terms of trying to get a program that can do the same thing and get the same results.
What are some health interventions used to treat sickle cell disease?
So initially, especially if you identify a baby within a few days of life, the easiest intervention is giving penicillin, which is an antibiotic geared toward preventing infections. When you have sickle cell disease, you're predisposed or vulnerable to certain bacteria that's in the community. Things like strep, things like staph, those can predispose a person with sickle cell disease to very serious problems and hospitalizations. The other things we try to do is give immunizations to help prevent those types of infections. More heroically, there's blood transfusions. So remember, the disease hinges around those bad red blood cells. A blood transfusion from a healthy person into a person with sickle cell disease can help alleviate their symptoms. And finally, probably the most heroic is bone marrow transfer or bone marrow transplant. Basically, it kind of just resets the blueprint of how your body produces red blood cells.
Many thanks, ANPA. And now over to our diasporan of the moment.
Our diaspora of the moment is Ademilola Lola Odujiri. Lola is a British-born Nigerian aircraft pilot who was born in South London and moved to Nigeria at a young age. When he was 20 years old, he qualified for his private pilot license, PPL, in 19 days. Lola was trained in the UK and the United States, flying for Arik Air for 5 years before working for Air Djibouti. Since earning his commercial license in 2011, Lola has logged over 4,000 hours as a commercial Boeing 737 pilot. Ademilola completed his one-man, one-plane expedition on March 29, 2017. In completing his journey, he became the first African and the 9th British pilot to fly around the world solo. He is one of only 117 people in the world to have achieved this. More people have currently flown into space than have flown around the world solo. The flight was part of Project Transcend, a foundation that aims to inspire young people in order to achieve their goals regardless of their personal circumstances. At age 38, he began his journey, which he has been planning since 2014. He flew for 9 months, stopping in more than 15 countries on 5 continents. Lola flew from Washington to Canada via John F. Kennedy International Airport, then to Iceland, Scotland, England, Valencia, Malta, Egypt, Djibouti, Oman, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Thailand. In 2017, he became the first African pilot in history to fly solo around the world. Congratulations, Lola. We celebrate you as our diaspora of the moment.
Many thanks for your time with us on today's episode of The Diaspora. The year is still new, so Happy New Year. And I remain your host, Koinsola Adetumbi. See you same time next week. Bye for now.